Welcome everyone, I'm Ismar Gomes and I'm a cellist, as you can see. I'm here today to help guide you through the excerpt called Farandole by Bizet for this year's BSYO String Orchestra audition. So without further ado, I'd like to just play through it and then I'll talk to you a little bit about how you might go about preparing for your audition. Alright, there we have it. So I just want to walk you through a couple of thoughts that I have about preparing for this. First of all, I should say, whenever I'm preparing an excerpt, I always ask myself, what are the most important elements I want to show in each excerpt? For this excerpt, I think there are a couple of things. On the one hand, we can think about the bow. The marking is marcato, and so we want every bow stroke we make to have a really good marked sound. We'll talk about how to get that in a second. We also want to make a big difference between the accented notes, of which there are many, and the staccato notes, and there are a lot of those too. The other thing that I think is really important is that we have a strong sound throughout and that we keep this march feeling. The tempo says tempo di marcia. So we need to make sure we keep that march feeling, and a big part of that is to have really, really secure rhythm. So I know there's no tempo marking given for this. I would recommend round about quarter note equals 96. I wouldn't go much faster than that, but it could be slightly slower. But anyway, as you begin your practice, we should be practicing far below tempo. Quick aside, I just performed it at tempo. However, you might know that on YouTube you can adjust the playback speed, so you can play, or at least listen to this excerpt at 75% of the speed or 50% of the speed, even a quarter of the speed. And I think that could be really helpful to help get things like rhythm and all of that stuff really settled. But of course, rely on your good friend, the metronome, to help you get through all this. All right, couple of quick things. When it comes to the accents, I think that we need to be able to grab the string and wiggle it just like this. So if you put your bow, at the frog, and you really engage your bow hold with the string, you get this really sort of, wiggly feeling there. And in order to produce the accent, you want that deepness that we get. And then as soon as you start moving the bow, release your bow hold, and you get a nice pop. That's gonna be a good accent with a good marcato character. So at the opening, we can really work on practicing each individual bow, grabbing the string and releasing, grabbing and releasing, and again. And that'll really help get a good sound. That goes for all the accents throughout. You might have noticed when I started, I gave myself two preparatory beats. I gave two air bows, a down bow and up bow, right in tempo. So I went 1, 2. And that really helps me to get my mind prepared for the tempo that we have to play. I would spend just a second before you even do that, just sort of humming to yourself the tune before you actually play. All right, the next thing, just moving right along, the downbeat of the second bar and the downbeat of the third bar are similar because we have these ties. Let's make sure that we hold the tied note all the way until the next beat. So I'll demonstrate. 1, 2. We have to release onto 1, 2. Or the third bar, 1, 2. Make sure you really hold it long enough and not too short. All right, so once we've held that note long enough, we need to do a really quick retake, so that way we're at the frog for all these dotted small rhythms at the end. All this stuff. So in order to do that, when we do the retake, 1, 2, we need to park ourselves right near the frog, but with enough space to do an up bow. That's really important. So you can practice that in slow motion. And again, and then add the next stuff. Okay, so I think that covers that. Next, we need to talk about the staccato marks that are on quite a number of notes here. Staccato, of course, means separate, so we want just a little bit of space between each note. You'll see that these notes are comparatively light as opposed to the accents which we played on the heavy side. So let's make sure these are light with a fast bow, but not a heavy bow like the accents. And if we really release the sound, we get that space to create a good staccato. Let's make sure that every accent sounds like an accent and every staccato sounds like a good staccato. All right, so there's only really one more aspect that I wanted to cover, which is to make sure that in bar 9, you count through the rests. That's really important. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then that way you come right in on time. Make sure we have the right character as we start again. All right, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. Please follow your metronome as your guide and good friend, and don't forget to bring these excerpts to your teachers, and good luck with your practice. I hope you are all successful.